It's time for Husky Insider, where we give you the inside look on what's going on with your Huskies, as well as the amazing stories happening around campus and within the central Minnesota area. We have tons on tap for you today, starting with a sports tradition that has stood the test of time. It's tailgating with a Husky twist. And we got to sit down with one of the cornerstones of the St. Cloud State football team in John Pass as he reflects on his final year as a Husky. Judo is not a very popular sport. We'll check out how this is impacting students involved on campus. But first, we begin with this amazing story of how soccer has helped one of SSU's student athletes find her true calling off the field.
She was really excited for me and knew that this is really where I wanted to go with my future.
Edition of Husky Insider. I'm Jeremy Lagos, and alongside me, Becca Engelman.
Hey.
How are you doing today, Becca?
I'm doing good. How are you, Jeremy?
Couldn't be better, honestly. So I think we should jump right into it. What about you?
I think we should too.
All right. Sarah Magno, a senior at St. Cloud State University, loves the game of soccer, but over the past summer, her practices didn't involve a soccer ball. They involved a camouflage uniform with her last name on it. Ashley Pearson has more on how her transfer to St. Cloud State influenced her new career after graduation.
When you're face first into a sand pit and you're kind of crawling through it and it's dark out and you're like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore, it's kind of that little voice inside your head that's like, hey, you're almost done, keep going.
For St. Cloud State senior Sarah Magno, defending comes as second nature on the soccer field and for her country.
Been thinking about it since I was even in high school, and it's just kind of like a family thing. And so I had talked to a recruiter kind of just to keep my options open, and he was like, hey, we can really make this work even though your schedule is so busy. And that kind of took me by surprise, but I was really excited for it, and so I started talking to Coach G about it, and she was really excited for me and knew that this is really where I wanted to go with my future, and so she really pushed me to do it. So if I wouldn't have transferred here, I really wouldn't have had that opportunity.
I believe it's our role to allow women and help young women learn and grow as leaders in their chosen fields and what their careers are going to be. And I think their time at St. Cloud State is meant to discover what their career is going to be and how they're going to become a leader in it. And so with this opportunity for her, it was something that she was extremely passionate about. And with that passion, if that's something that she wants to do, why would I limit her from an opportunity that will help her?
Joining the ROTC program in 2017 and completing 10 weeks of basic training, Sarah's passion is one that comes from family roots.
Well, my grandfather was drafted into the Marine Corps in World War II. My brother's active duty Army right now. I come from a family of police officers as well. My dad's a captain. So that kind of like discipline and rigidity is kind of like in our blood. And it was just something that we all felt the need to do something bigger than us.
But the relentless basic training wasn't a shock for a natural soccer player who learned discipline on the field.
Soccer made it a lot easier, especially basic training, because I already came in and I was already in shape, so I was already ahead of probably 2/3 of the people there. And just the mental toughness that soccer and pretty much any sport that you play growing up kind of teaches you, and it teaches you perseverance, and when the going gets tough, you know, the tough get going, and that's something that the Army really values.
I mean, obviously having basic training, you're going to have a fitness level that's completely different than your teammates, and so I think that she came in ready to go, and it's now, we've been together for a month, and it is continuing to lead and bring that competitive mindset that she always has to the field. She makes her teammates better.
A leadership that continues to grow as Sarah applies her training on and off the field.
And then you get branched off into different areas, like medical is the one that I'm shooting for. I'd really like to go active duty because it presents the most opportunity. This is my job training. I'm training to become an officer in the United States Army. And for most athletes in college, at some point you're gonna have to hang up your cleats and be done. Yeah, it spreads my time a little thin, but at the end of the day, they knew it was something that was gonna make me successful as a person and not just an athlete.
Sarah Magno is a senior defenseman who started 17 games last season and will finish her final season of eligibility at St. Cloud State, but will continue her education in the ROTC program next year.
Coming up later in the show, we will meet the president of the Judo Club as she demonstrates her skills in the martial arts. And later, we talk to SCSU wide receiver John Pass as he reflects on his final year as a Husky. And later, we will hang out with some of the SCSU staff as they get ready to cheer on the Huskies.
The tobacco industry is constantly changing in order to attract new customers. They use tactics like social media, free music downloads, and concert promotions. Because they know if they don't addict smokers by 18, they probably never will. But if kids don't start, smoking stops. Learn how to help at stopthestartmn.com.
Leaving hot coals improperly extinguished can cause a wildfire.
Hey guys, it's Smokey!
It looks as if Smokey is going to use the drown, stir, drown and feel technique. After the first drown, a good start. Next, another drink. And finally, a close feel.
Is it cool? Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Smokey, catch! Oh, my bad, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Football is back, and what comes with it? That's right, tailgating. We take a deep dive on this great tradition.
Assistant Professor of Higher Education and Director of our Higher Education Master's and Doctoral Program. So we've been tailgating out here for about 4 years now. And so I came from LSU before here, and tailgating culture is a big deal, and I was at University of Alabama before that. So and even the University of Memphis, where I did my undergrad, like tailgating was always a big thing. And so when we came up to St. Cloud, it's like, hey, let's do it here too. So I've been here for about 7 years, but about 4 years now we've been having an active tailgate in the spot. And it ranges from sizes, like this is one of our smaller ones, but when it's a Saturday game, we'll have about 4 tents set up, televisions, the whole deal. So for us, it's for our tailgate, it's faculty, administrators, and then a lot of our graduate students in our master's and doctoral program and our alumni come back for it.
I went to St. Cloud State. I graduated 2017, and I worked in the field of which I graduated for a year, and now I'm back for my master's degree. I actually worked in human resource management. I worked at Bemidji State University for a year in their human resource office, and figured need another piece of paper to get where I need to be, and here I am. It's just, as you can see around, it's just a lot of people just hanging out, just really enjoying their time before they head on in and cheer on the Huskies. It's just one of those things where I was born and raised in the Midwest, Minnesota, so tailgating has always been a part of my growing up. So it's always fun to hang out and then just enjoy each other's company before you go in and just yell the whole time.
Athletics in anywhere thrives when the community is behind it, community is involved, community is supporting it. I mean, it's cool to see the turnout we have today. I don't think we had turnouts like this much last year. It's cool. It helps with weather and it helps with other factors too. But I mean, athletics in the community, just the support is so important. It's important to make it happen. It's important to make it the environment we want to be. and to help the university.
In my undergraduate, it wasn't really that big of a thing, which kind of hurt my heart a little bit, but that's okay. But ever since I came back, I know that there's a little bit of a resurgence of tailgating, and that's awesome. So it really does help with the community feeling of everything, and it's great.
We are very excited about homecoming, and we've been planning the homecoming tailgate since probably last fall when they announced that homecoming was coming back, and so it's going to be a big deal. Since we're in the School of Education, the School of Education is going to be out here with us, and so we're inviting all of our School of Ed alum and students back into, and then our undergrads here. So we will, like I said, this will if we get this spot, it will be out much farther. And we're very excited about homecoming coming back.
It's just important. I think it's most important when you talk about recruiting new students. You talk about getting the local high school students excited about going to university. It's a homecoming atmosphere. It's a homecoming events going around it. It's the alumni coming back. Because in the day, the best salesman you have for a university, for students who want to go to university, is when the alumni are around. And the alumni are the best people to know how cool the university can be and how it was.
Having been at universities where I actually used to run homecoming, to see the amount of people come back, to see the excitement the students have, it is tremendously wonderful that we are having homecoming coming up.
When you're a fan of sports, the best event you can possibly do is tailgating. I love tailgating. It's always a good time. You just get all these fans together, just cheering on their team, ready to get going, getting hyped before the game, and it's just the best way to get juiced up.
I've never gone, but I can only imagine it's a good way to get excited for the game.
Great food.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's the best experience I've ever had.
Let's try it out.
Yeah, you should.
Yep, I will. All right, Huskies wide receiver John Pass has recently started his final year on the St. Cloud State football team. I got the chance to sit down with John to reflect back on his career and discuss his plans for after college. Take a look.
Justin check back to pass over the middle, finds a receiver and waltzing it.
John is a one in a lifetime guy. He's not like, at first he kind of rubs people off kind of the wrong way, but once like you really get to know him, I think that's like with everybody. Once you truly get to know the person, then you really find out how good of a person he is, and you know how much he really leads this team. You know, most people don't see it right away, but once you spend time with him for a little while, and then you really know that John Pass is a great dude.
John Pass is an integral part of what has made the offense run the past few seasons for the Huskies. As much as an impact that he's had on the field, the impact he has in the locker room is bigger than football. All that comes from the upbringing that molded him.
My family, they've always pushed me to, be better than they've been, when they were growing up, when they were kids. So every day I just strive to be that person, be the man that they want me to be and the one that they raised me to be.
First pass of the second half is to Pass, and he falls forward for the first down.
One of the biggest impacts was his brother, who was also a wide receiver, which helped spark his love for football, and it has always played a major role in his life.
I started playing when I was in elementary school, probably around 3rd or 4th grade, youth football. And what made me fall in love with it was just, the feeling of winning, the feeling of doing good, and even like losing part too, you had that taste and you want to come back and win again, so that's what really made me fall in love with it.
His passion of the game caught the eye of Huskies head football coach Scott Underwood when they recruited him in 2014.
Well, I think we saw his athleticism. He could do a lot of different things. And, he's a good statured receiver. And those guys are always hard to find. 6-foot guys that can run and have the skills that John has as far as being able to make route running. So those were the things that attracted our eye very, very quickly.
Not only does he have physical gifts, but his leadership in the locker room has also helped the growth of the players around him.
It was always good to have a guy who has 4 years under his belt of playing experience. He's taught me the ropes as I went under Nate Meyer's wing, and then he was right there to teach me everything. And it's just good to have somebody who's not always the most vocal leader, but he's always there to correct you when you make mistakes or talking to us when we need to be on the same page.
The game of football has taught John a lot of life lessons, and it's something that he believes can help him in another passion that he has off of the field.
Growing up, I've had a lot of teachers, that have helped me outside of the classroom, with just life lessons, sports, so I want to have that same effect on some students where I can help them change their lives the way that mine's been changed too.
As life as a Husky is slowly coming to an end, John reflects on his career as a football player.
just the chemistry with the team, you know, relationship with the players and the coaches. You know, it's not really, they're probably some of the biggest influence a person has outside of your family. You know, so just that relationship and close-knit family type feeling.
John Pass has definitely done a lot for his team the past 3 years as a wide receiver, and everyone I think is excited to see what his last year has in store for him.
Coming up after the break, with the women's hockey season underway as they celebrate 20 years of excellence. We'll be right back after this.
We are 20 years strong.
We are leaders.
We are scholar athletes.
We are Olympic gold medalists. We are women who lace up their skates every day.
We are women from all over the world.
We are professional hockey players.
We are tomorrow's legends.
We are champions.
We are growing the game.
We are the premier women's college hockey league.
We are All-American.
We are community and business leaders.
We are national champions.
We are yesterday's heroes and today's teammates.
We are the WCHA.
Dear humans, I stand here today not for myself, but for every tail wagger, sloppy kisser, and curtain ninja. I stand here for each one of the nearly 4,100 dogs and cats killed in shelters each day, asking you to join our cause and help us make sure every best friend has a chance to meet one of their own. With Best Friends Animal Society leading the charge, and your help, we can save them all.
It appears these hot ashes are about to be dumped, which could possibly start a wildfire. How will Smokey deal with such a hot situation? The garden hose defense. Next, a thorough stir. Then another spray. And finally, feeling if the ashes are cool.
Oh, yeah.
Ah yes, the selfie. A ritual practiced so frequently with this tribe, but not so much by Smokey Bear.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Awkward. I'm the awkward silence. You try to avoid me, then there I am again.
But an awkward silence can be a great thing.
Like Kelly here is about to demonstrate.
You haven't really been yourself lately. Are you okay?
Find out how you can help a friend with their mental health at seizetheawkward.org.
Welcome back, everybody. Typically here on Husky Insider, we find the scoop on our more popular athletes in St. Cloud, but today we have something a little different. We interview the president of the Judo Club to get a deeper look at a lesser-known sport on campus.
When I'm on the mat, I'm in a state of almost zen. Everything else kind of fades away. I got started with martial arts in general in March 2013. I got started through a community ed magazine. My mom was flipping through it in the morning and she was like, "Hey, this sounds interesting." And I was like, "Yeah, that does." And I wasn't expecting her to sign me up for it, but she did. I started with a Korean sword art, Haidong Gumdo. I do see a lot of sword in judo. I'll be training with my training partners and I'll be like, and I'll just make these like faces and I'll be like, because I'm having these little sparks of like, hey, this is from something else. We have certain throws that are like over the head here, and that's the same as a sword cut. Or we'll have ones where we're moving the same way as like a lateral cut would be. So there are a lot of similarities there.
I believe the sport of judo just makes great individuals. It teaches character, teaches discipline. It helps you physically become a stronger, better athlete. Judo is just a great mind-body experience. You're not only working on your physical muscles, but you're also learning how to deal with things like anxiety, how to be more confident, how to set goals, how to be disciplined. You learn humility from the sport. And it's also respect for yourself and respect for others.
Favorite thing about martial arts is probably how it makes me feel. It makes me feel really confident. in myself. It makes me feel like I'm really good at something. It's like, hey, I can throw somebody really hard and really fast and it looks really good. Or I can do this form and I can jump 3 feet in the air with a sword, or I can jump and roll with a sword. When you get to that point, it's like, I don't know, it's a really, really good feeling and it gives you a lot of confidence.
So no matter what you decide to pursue later on in life, you've armed with the judo way, which is the gentle way, the smart way, the way of minimal resistance with maximum efficiency.
Laura has continued her own training as well as training others during the Judo Club meetings held at Hollenbeck Hall's Martial Arts Room, 7 p.m. on Tuesday nights. When we return from break, we'll sit down with representatives of the WCHA and see what they're expecting this season.
Hi, I'm Tony Langfeld, Associate Producer of Husky Tonight. When our executive producer Greg Spade started this show over 80 years ago, it was his main goal to sell lots of popcorn. Although we don't make popcorn here, he encourages you to eat popcorn whilst watching our shows. So why don't you grab some Orville and Redenbacher, or some Pap Secret, or even some other popcorn that the Boy Scouts sell, so you can watch our show and enjoy it with some popcorn. So enjoy it, and be sure to tune in. Thanks for watching.
Gotta get up and be somebody. We can break it down, yes we can make it. We can break it down, yes we can break it. Numbers, but I'm searching for a friend.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies.
Selfie, nailed it. We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's put a ride home.
This year, the WCHA has been celebrating 20 years of excellence. The game has grown, and the WCHA now consists of 7 competitive teams in college hockey. 3 teams from the WCHA cracked the top 10 in the USA Today's preseason poll. This historic conference looks to open their season up with another competitive run as they own 15 national championships combined as a league.
It started with a promise, one filled with hope, that became the best, and inspired a generation to dream. We are the WCHA, celebrating 20 years of excellence.
It's huge for me. I always looked up to all my female coaches, and as a player that played in the WCHA, it's awesome to coach in the WCHA. I can speak from my own experience, and to be role models for all of the little girls, and to be able to show them what they can do, and that dreams do come true to play college hockey, and just to live the dream. Coaching hockey as a job is amazing. Being able to play it, then I can now coach it and jump in drills with the girls and show them what I used to do, hopefully, sometimes. And it gives you more respect from your players to be able to move into that role, having been where they are.
It means a lot to have played in the WCHA. Playing at the University of Wisconsin, every weekend's competitive. We have such a competitive league, and I think it's one of the top leagues, obviously, in the U.S. But just being able to have girls from Canada, from Europe, from the U.S., obviously, it's just great to have the diversity throughout the league.
Well, it was a true honor. When I was recruited to go to Minnesota, it was the inaugural season, so I think that made it even more special because we were the team that opened up the WCHA with Laura Halderson quarterbacking that and recruiting us back in 1997. And so you took a big chance going to the Midwest. I didn't even know where Minnesota was. I'm a Canadian, so I think being part of the inaugural season and seeing the accomplishments over the past 20 years, not just with obviously Minnesota, but with Ohio State being in the Frozen Four and with Wisconsin's success and then the other teams improving immensely. So I just think that the growth of the game in the WCHA and having 17 of the last 19 championships being in our program, that it speaks volumes of who we are.
In the first 20 years, the WCHA Women's League has brought us 7 Patty Kazmaier Award winners, 16 national championships, 98 All-Americans, hundreds of Olympic and international team heroes, and countless young women inspired. What's next?
Well, we've come a long way in 20 years, and I would hope that in the next 20 years we make another jump like we have. More females playing in our league, maybe more teams, more fan base, and what our athletes do on the ice and in the classroom and their communities. Just continue to build on what we've done in 20 years.
Hopefully there'll be more just college hockey teams in general, so more athletes get the opportunity, because there's a handful of us that played in the league and now coach in the league, and I think any of us would tell you this is the best place to play, the best place to coach, and a great place to be. So hopefully there'll be more opportunities for more players to experience what we're lucky enough and fortunate enough to be a part of every day.
I hope to see women's hockey continue to grow over the next 5-10 years. I hope to see the numbers continue to go up, because that means the talent will also follow. So that's kind of the goal, is just to get more women playing, and I think that'll translate to even better hockey at the collegiate level.
Catch the WCHA games throughout the 2018 and 2019 season as they feature players from past and present and rising future stars. After the break, we'll have your inside take. We'll be right back.
Week in Review starts right now.
Welcome to Week in Review,
where we take a look back at the top stories of the week.
My name is Ben Henry. Alongside me is Emilio Ramos.
Well, the temperature is not that cold, even though it is snowing like crazy.
On WCHA conference rival, Bemidji State.
Thank you for joining us for UTVS News Week in Review. We'll see you back here Monday at 4:30.
Another summer day has come and gone away from Paris and Rome, but I wanna go home. Oh, I miss you. Let me go home. It'll all be alright. I'll be home tonight.
Huge things are coming up for the football team. They travel south this weekend to play Minnesota State Mankato as they look to advance a 4-1 on the season as we approach mid-season form. And then for the first time in 30 years, the following weekend, the Cardinal and Black come back to Husky Stadium for St. Cloud's first homecoming in 30 years. It'll be Huskies versus Wildcats, an exciting NSIC matchup, one I'm hyped for. I can't believe it. We actually have a homecoming. It is so exciting. It's going to be so much fun.
What are you most looking forward to?
Honestly, tailgating sounds a lot of fun. Eating all that food and then rushing into that stadium to cheer on the boys. It's probably one of the most exciting atmospheres that we've seen on campus, at least it should be. I mean, the first time we've had a homecoming in 30 years, that's insane.
It's been a long time. Like I said before, I haven't gone tailgating, and it's only right that I do it this year. I got to take advantage.
It'll be the perfect chance for you to do your first tailgating event and first Huskies homecoming.
Yeah, and hopefully, they can take home the win. We can, celebrate accordingly, and they can pull through and give us the W.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. We can only wish. Alrighty, thanks for tuning in. Catch us next time.
Dear humans, I stand here today not for myself, but for every tail wagger, sloppy kisser, and curtain ninja. I stand here for each one of the nearly 4,100 dogs and cats killed in shelters each day, asking you to join our cause and help us make sure every best friend has a chance to meet one of their own. With Best Friends Animal Society leading the charge, and your help, we can save them all.